Maren and Angela, and this is Homeschool Unrefined. We created this podcast to change the conversation about homeschool. This is a place where we encourage each other to do less, be ourselves, embrace natural learning, and keep homeschool simple, real, and fun. We are longtime friends, Minnesotans, and practiced homeschool parents with our master's degree in education. We are an inclusive and non-sectarian podcast and community. We believe Black Lives Matter and affirm LGBTQ plus families. We hope this is a place where we can all learn and grow together.
This is episode 158, Simple Spring and Summer. Hey, Angela.
Hey, how are you?
Great. How are you?
Good. I think you're up for our aha moment
this week. So my aha moment this week comes from a string of experiences, but it is basically let your kids' high standards stay high as far as learning.
Ooh, okay.
And I think this, I don't know if I can even point to one exact boom aha moment for me, but there have been several times, even especially this year, where I've kind of introduced things to my kids and it just hasn't worked out. And I think it's because I sometimes try and find the easier, faster way to learn things. I want to make it easy and fast and let's just get this done with. And my kids often veto those things.
Okay.
And I think oftentimes this is where the struggle exists in homeschooling, where we want to kind of just get through things. Let's do this. And the kids are like, no, that's not how I work. This doesn't work for me. And I'm learning to listen to my kids in those situations and let them, I think they already have these high standards, of how learning can be, that it can be engaging. It can be like where you're thoroughly into a subject or you want to work hard on things and you're willing to work hard, when it's something you're interested in and it's a challenge and, we're working together and it isn't like this top down kind of mentality where I'm going to tell you what to do and you follow my directions and, where it's more, cooperative and things like that. And so I think because my kids have had those experiences, it's really hard when it's not that.
Okay.
And I'm realizing that that's a good thing. I want my kids to grow up to have those standards, in life and find a job, find a career, find, a purpose where they're, feeling really fulfilled and not just doing things,
getting through something
empty. Yeah. Feeling very empty about their work. And so, so I'm kind of really processing this idea right now of just letting my kids have that high standard and those ideas of how learning works for them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I have literally never thought of that. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, and it comes from all these experiences where I'm where we've had amazing experiences. We traveled for a year. We did so many hard things and amazing things and fun things. And not that everything should be a huge trip around the country. That's not it at all. But once you have, an experience where you really feel like you internally learned something, it's really hard to go back the other way. And I have to remember that my kids know what that's like now. And so it's really hard to go back.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I'm going to be thinking about that one.
Thank you. It doesn't, okay. And I'm going to go back and say it even, those experiences can come from, vinegar and baking soda in the kitchen too. So my kids have had that experience. That's exciting. That was exciting for them when they did that. And so, it's really hard to, do something where I'm like, can we just please check off these boxes quick? No, we could be doing vinegar and baking soda in the kitchen. So why would I do this?
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah. All right. For more aha moments and lots of other insights that Angela and I both have often, you should come and find us on Patreon. It's a place where we have lots more content, and a great community for just $5 a month.
And you can go to patreon.com/homeschoolunrefined. All right, let's move on to our main topic, which is simple spring and summer. I was thinking we have talked about summer a lot. I think every year we talk about summer and keeping it simple.
Yeah.
And this year we're just bringing spring into that.
We are.
Because it's time for us to simplify.
It is. Yep.
I think a lot of people, I just see a lot of talk where people are done with the year, or they want to be done, or they are feeling burnt out.
Right.
And so we just thought it would be a good time to talk about how you can simplify.
Yes,
this spring and summer.
I want to turn the conversation around, and we do this a lot. We change the conversation about homeschool, and I think just learning in general, because what happens is, I think often in the spring we feel really guilty when we don't want to keep going the way we've been going all year. We want to change the pace. We want to slow down, maybe academically, or we want to not do academics at all, or we feel. It's easy to feel bad in the spring. The weather's getting nice. I want to go outside more. And let's not finish these lessons. I want to change that conversation because, or in this, mindset, the way you're talking to yourself every day too, that is not necessarily a bad thing. That is not necessarily a bad thing. And I think that we sometimes need to listen to that. Why is it? Why are you thinking that? Why are you feeling that? There's probably a really good reason.
Yes.
And it's probably good to listen to that.
Right. Like we were thinking about how sometimes people call this like fizzling out. Like you feel like you might be fizzling out. And that's a negative way. Like that's saying like fizzling is not good. Right. We don't want to fizzle out. But we wanted to reframe it in a positive way. Like, you've maybe been really intense this year in maybe academic or non-academic ways. It's okay to change things up. And that doesn't mean you are fizzling out. It doesn't mean you are falling off the wagon or
exactly.
giving up or whatever. You are making an intentional change. And that's great. We need change.
It absolutely is. And this is a natural time to make that change. When the weather is getting different, and plus, we've gone through, just psychologically, we've gone through this school year, a long school year. It's been a long school year for anyone, no matter, how the pandemic has affected you. It's affected, it's affected all of us. So it's been different and probably harder.
Yeah.
And so to, your body and your mind might be telling you different things even than a normal year.
Right.
Telling you to slow down even more or do something way different. And that might be a good thing to listen to right now. So,
yeah, I mean, this year has been hard in maybe not in your homeschool, but maybe in other ways. And that is weighing on you and your kids, maybe subconsciously. We talked about this in a previous episode about why it's okay to quit school, right?
Right.
So that's okay too. But just so you know, your brain has been working in lots of different ways this year. Every year is different. Like the last 2 years have been different. I remember last spring, and you had a different year because you were traveling.
Yep.
But I remember last spring for me, and I don't know if you all felt this way, but we could not go anywhere.
Yeah.
Everything was shut down.
Yes.
And it was like, well, what are we going to do? I guess we could do school.
Right.
And we did like a heavier academic season last spring than I've ever done.
Yes.
And that was weird. That was different. I don't normally do that in the spring.
Right.
Normally in the spring, I'm simplifying. And so I feel like I'm just remembering those times. It's different. This spring is also different. We've gone through a national collective trauma. And so it is probably a good thing for you right now to change things up, maybe slow down, maybe do something different. I'm not saying if you don't want to drop academics, you don't have to. You could just change them up somehow.
Right, exactly. Maybe you just do different topics. You're switching topics. Or maybe you've had a less than intense year because you've really been really been listening to your body and your mind all year, and you have been slowing down. And maybe right now with, the start of spring, you're feeling more energetic and your kids are, maybe that's where you're at. So, I don't think that we're saying it's time to slow down, everybody, but I think it's just like, listen to where you're at and, go with it, because I think there's just a lot of validity in that. One big reason I think for doing this is to to think about what really be intentional about what we want to do in the spring and summer, is that our kids are watching us, and they're learning how to take care of themselves by the way we take care of ourselves. So, if we're listening to our own bodies and we're slowing down a bit, or we're ramping up maybe physically, we're going outside more or something, our kids are watching that, and they're learning that it doesn't always have to be that we don't have to keep grinding all year. And that's not necessarily the best thing for learning or for me.
Right. We're teaching them balance. We're teaching them, that change is fine and change is good. And there are, I know the word season is overdone, but there are seasons to work and school and life. And we are teaching them how to welcome those and be okay with the changes that those bring.
Right. And let's not forget, like, this pandemic isn't over yet. And we're still, this is kind of this has become a marathon. I don't know that we all thought it was going to be a marathon at the beginning. But it has become that. And we have to, change our pace in a marathon. You don't sprint for 26 miles. And so we're figuring out how to do this, for the first time probably. But always we're doing it in homeschooling. This is homeschooling is a marathon in and of itself. And so we have to learn to take breaks in there to make it, to be able to continue parenting, to continue figuring out what's best. We are taking care of so many things. And so for us to be able to do that for ourselves, and then for our kids to see that, is so important. So important.
Yes, we are teaching our kids how to keep going in a time of stress. Exactly. Like, keep going joyfully, keep going healthfully. That's not a word. Healthy. In a healthy way. Keep going in a healthy way. We do have to keep going. And so how can we do that in a way that honors ourselves and our bodies? And it is really important that they see that modeled, in my opinion, for me. Right.
Yep. Absolutely. We want to keep going. And there is a way to do it joyfully and healthily. I think I'm going to use that. I mean, there is a way. So, because I think without being mindful, it's very easy to just keep going, whether you're joyful or not, or, excited to do the next thing or not. But I think it takes a lot of, intentionality to get to that point where, not that you have to just continue to be happy and, zippy every day. This is not what we're going for, but just to be internally I'm good where we're at. That takes, I think, some intentionality, especially right now. And where we live, it's spring. It's exciting. It's warm out. Our kids are drawn outside. I'm drawn outside. Yes.
We want to enjoy this time outside. And so for me, that is motivation enough to simplify. Because I want to make sure we have time for that. At least where we live, it is only nice certain times of the year. And I'm actually trying to reframe that myself. I know that there's great weather throughout the year, but this weather where you just want to be outside because you've been hibernating all winter.
Yes. And you can be for hours at a time.
You can be for hours at a time instead of just little blips of time. Right. So I want to take advantage of that season. I also want to take advantage of, things are opening up a bit more, in the U.S. Some people are getting vaccinated, so you might be seeing people more. I know for us, we're able to see grandparents a little bit. Yeah. That's something we have not been able to do for a year, and that's exciting. And it is good to roll with that. It is good to roll with that.
Right. You wouldn't want to cancel plans because you have this intense academic schedule to fulfill for the rest of I got to finish this thing by, the end of the school year, when, we haven't seen so many people for so long. And if there is an opportunity to be able to see your grandparents or whatever, this is the time. I think it's okay to like let go of some other plans so that we can reunite again if it's in a healthy way. So,
right, definitely.
Yes, for sure.
So how do we do that? So that how are we going to simplify our spring and summer? Maren, do you want to start?
Sure. Well, first, I just want to say, like, how to do this is going to be different for everyone. I think a good question to ask is what's serving me right now and what's serving our kids? Like what's giving you life? And I think we need to trust that those things are going to be good for us. And this is going to look different for everyone. So for me, we're going to be picking, and we talk about tentpoles a lot in our podcast in general. So there's just going to be some tentpoles that are going to kind of hold us, and keep us kind of grounded during the spring. And it's going to be different in the summer. Right now, we are kind of, this is interesting because we're never have never been like super intensely an academic, like sit at the table, do things kind of family. Obviously, we've been, we traveled for a year. We did very little academics last year until kind of the pandemic hit. And then we stayed at home and did some academic-y things. This year is almost the same though for us. I feel like we're kind of in the season where our kids are ready to do some more academics. So our spring tentpoles are going to be a little more academic-y than normal.
Okay.
I think
the normal springs.
The normal
or then
springs.
Like,
yeah.
Okay,
Usually, oftentimes in spring, we're just getting outside all day long. Our kids are, the other thing is our kids are getting older. My kids are 14, 12, and 10. And so I think the spring isn't like when our kids were little, all they, we were just bursting to go outside and be outside all day long. And while our kids really do like that now, they like to sit in hammocks too all day. They like to be out on the deck. And so they can still do some things out there too. So we're still working on math. We just started doing some actual geography just because that's like they're interested in maps right now. And so we're kind of looking at those, world geography, United States geography, those kind of things. That's what our spring is kind of looking like right now. Another thing is we have a little loop in our neighborhood. It's like a short loop that our kids like to bike around. So periodically throughout the day, I'll just say it's time for everybody to go around the loop. You can either walk or bike or scooter or whatever, but like that's kind of a good thing, especially as they're getting older. Just to send them outside is like getting a little trickier. Because
it is.
What am I going to do outside? Sit in the hammock? I don't know. Or we can play basketball and things like that. But as my kids are getting older, it's kind of nice to send them out. So they're, biking and doing things out in the neighborhood a little bit more.
Yes.
Yeah. How about you, Angela? Do you have some spring tent poles or just other plans for the spring? Simple.
Yeah. Ours is looking a little bit different for us this year too, because of pandemic stuff, but also because my oldest is in public school and she has a spring break, right? And it's this week. And so then my other kids said, well, can we have spring break? And I was like, sure. In the past, I haven't really done like an official spring break. One, because I think it's hard for homeschoolers.
Yeah.
Because like you might be taking outside classes or you might be in soccer or whatever. And like everybody gives their week off at a different time. And so it's very hard to like coordinate when your week off is going to be.
I also think it's hard for homeschoolers just to set that boundary.
Oh yeah. That was going to be my next thing.
Take a whole week off. Yeah.
Yeah. Because also for me, and I imagine you, Maren, like we aren't super intense homeschoolers.
Exactly.
So I'm like, well, we don't do things intensely. So why do we need a break from the little bit that we do? But I know that's not true. And I know that my kids are craving a break. My
Yeah.
son this morning, he's like, I am so glad we are on a break. I am so glad. I needed this, he said. And like,
Good.
and on the one hand, I'm like, oh, that's just so special and like great. And then the other hand, I'm like, you barely, like, you needed this. But I have to remember,
what?
like, a break from what?
Yeah,
Like, he's 12 and him doing like academic subjects in an intense way is intense for him.
It is.
So he does need a break. So anyway, we are taking this break. And then as per my daughter's school schedule, she has 6 weeks left. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, like, let's have 6 weeks left.
That sounds amazing.
Because also when she's done, we'll just be done too, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like in the past, you and I both are like, should we be done this week?
I know.
I don't know.
Such a
it's
gray
nice out.
area.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know. I don't usually plan ahead. And so I feel like this is not planning ahead, but I feel like I'm just like going with what my daughter's doing. And so all that to say, we have 6 weeks. After this week, we have 6 weeks left. And that feels actually really great to me.
Yeah, that sounds so enticing to me. I'm ready
You can do it too.
I'm ready
You
to
can
put
do
it on
it.
my calendar.
Because I think it's going to be 6 weeks till Memorial weekend or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that seems like, what could we do for 6 weeks? Like, how could we define the 6 weeks differently?
Yes.
What could this next 6 weeks look like for us? And so I think what we are going to do is, I'm choosing like we've said before, 1 to 3 tentpoles. These are the things that are going to kind of anchor your homeschool or your day or your life in this season. And so for us, we are going to do math and reading. Both of my kids have math that they are currently doing.
Great.
Both of them, I make them read, right? Mm-hmm. Both of them read because we make it a priority, right?
Right.
So those are 2 things that are going to be those
great.
are 2 things. And then my son loves to write for fun. And so I want to make time for that.
We're all jealous of that, by the way.
Well, it's actually not what you think. He has to be inspired. So like, he's not always inspired.
Okay.
But when he is, he does like a long stint of it.
Yeah.
And so I want to make time every day in case he's inspired.
Absolutely.
I want to have time for that. And so like,
I just want to clarify, because I know we're all probably, people are wondering, that so you don't make him write. This is just all him doing it. Yeah.
And so like, it's all him. If I made him, he would hate it. Yep. He would feel like it was a chore or a job. So no, I don't make him. But I know he's really into, basically he does like Star Wars fan fiction.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's what he's writing.
So great.
Yeah. And so he'll get on a roll and he'll do a lot for like a day. Or like, I can't remember when he wrote this book. Was it last summer? Was it last spring? I cannot remember. He wrote a book. Yeah. We published it. And during that whole time, he was editing his book because that was really important to him at the time. And so we spent a huge chunk of time, I want to say weeks, editing his book that he wrote. And I thought to myself at the time, like, okay, this is now, Angela, this covers you. Like when, like he's, this counts for like a couple years of like, I don't know, mechanics and grammar and like all of that stuff.
Yes.
Like he did an intense season of it. And so I'm remembering that now.
Yep.
So so anyway, no, I don't make him write every day, but
you make room
and he's
for
not always inspired. I'll be like, do you feel like you want to write today? Should we put it on the schedule? And he'll say, yeah, I could try. And then some of the days he's like, you know what? I really wasn't feeling it. And then some of the days he'll be like, well, I wrote a paragraph and then that was it. And then some of the days he writes more.
That's great.
And I'm fine with that.
So great.
I don't even look at it right now.
Yeah.
I just know he has Google Docs.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, he's doing that sometimes. My 8th grader is doing a grammar class online on OutSchool. So she's finishing that up for the semester. And then my 8th grader is also doing a very low intensity biology class, biology coloring club. And so she's doing that too, very low intensity. Yep. So those are, I would say, our tentpoles, I almost hate to use the word tentpole because like that gives it really like this huge importance. But really like it's just these few academic-y things that we're doing. And then the rest of the time we're doing like getting outside.
Yes.
Like that's actually probably my tentpole is like
right.
getting outside like you. Like how can I entice them outside? You know, like my kids are now getting into bike rides alone as well. Like, can I go for a bike ride by myself?
Yeah.
They think that's really exciting. So that, or like one of my kids really likes to swing and listen to audiobooks. That I'm great.
That's
Anytime you want to
amazing.
do that, you should do that.
Yes.
And then also like shows. We're doing a lot of shows, like, you know, academic-y and not.
Right.
And I'm fine with that.
It's all learning.
It's all learning.
Yes.
So I'm totally fine with that. It feels like we're slowing down from the academics and fitting in more nature shows and just doing a little bit of the academics. That'll be our 6-week block.
I forgot to say one thing that I feel like I probably should.
Yeah.
For this spring, simple spring.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, I decided there was a Friday. I feel like Fridays are tough for me. I've never been motivated to do much on Fridays, like academically. I just really haven't. Never. But especially now that the weather is nice. And so like maybe 3 weeks ago, I woke up on a Friday thinking, I can't do the same thing I've done every day this week. We have to do something different. And it was a nice day. We have to get out. And so I told the kids we're going to go hiking today. And, we've done a lot of hiking. They've done a lot of hiking in their lives, our kids. And, and so I know, sometimes it can come with some resistance. And so, I told them here, I'm going to tell you my expectations right now. We're going to do at least 2 miles. I just want you to know that right up front. Because sometimes it's like, after a mile, somebody's like, my feet hurt. Can we go?
Yeah.
And if I haven't told them up ahead, up
that's
front.
good.
So I just said 2 miles. And then on the way home, we're going to get a little snack lunch is what I called it. What
is that?
It's not like a full meal at a place that they really want, because I don't want to buy out like unhealthy stuff all the time, especially a big full meal of it, Yeah. But like French fries or something like that. We'll just go pick up French fries somewhere, or we'll go pick up, I don't know, a smoothies, or just something that we wouldn't normally get. But it's just a little like I'm throwing them something so that it's an incentive. It's an incentive. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. I just felt like they can. This is working for us. So we did it one week, and I was like, gosh, that went really well. And so I've been doing it every Friday. I wake up on Fridays, and I'm like, I think we're gonna do it today.
Nice.
That's where I'm at right now.
And do you get grumbling, or are they okay with this?
I get grumbling, but the more I'm upfront with them about it, and I'm like, this is what we're going to this place. We're going on this trail. We're going this many miles, and we're getting this afterwards. It's so much better than, and that's not my nature. I'm not really great at that kind of stuff, but, and yet it's still Friday morning when I tell them this. It's not like I told them way ahead of time. This is Friday morning, me looking on my All Trails map thinking, okay, we can do this one. We're going to do this one.
That's great.
Yeah. And so when they know that up front ahead of time, and it's, a Friday after, it's Friday. And so it's either that or like, they're going to do other stuff at home that might be less exciting too. So it's kind of it's just a nice Friday for us. It's been a nice Friday, and it's becoming a tentpole.
Yeah.
Starting.
Well, okay. Can we lead into summer? Because that was going to be one of my summer ones. I'm going to talk about my summer tentpoles.
Let's do it.
I don't actually know my summer tentpoles yet, but I am going to pick 1 to 3. Mm-hmm. And one of them, I have a question mark after weekly hike. We've done this in the past with our kids together.
Yep.
And it has worked to varying degrees.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I am also contemplating, part of me is like, how many more years do I have them?
I know.
We can go on hikes like this. Like, I can put my foot down about this and say, we're going to do this, and, have an incentive afterwards, like get a coffee or a juice or lunch or something.
Yep.
But they're getting older. Mine are 16, 14, and 12.
Yeah.
They're getting older and they have like their own ideas of what they want to do for summer. They have their own priorities. And so I'm really like trying to balance how much I'm going to like, I don't want to say the word require, but have them do with me collectively versus how much, time they're going to do things on their own. And so that is, I love that idea, and we might still do that this summer, or we might not. One of the main thing for summer for me is we're going to try and do like one activity per kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't quite have it figured out yet.
Yeah.
I don't have it figured out. Because so many things are not resuming yet.
Yeah.
And if they are, am I comfortable with it? Of all the things that are resuming that I'm comfortable with, what do my kids want to do?
Yep.
Like what would they be interested in? Normally in the summer, one of our tentpoles is the play. My kids do this play, where it's a big community theater. All my kids do it. It's very exciting. They have practice every night.
Yeah.
And that is our activity. Well, because of COVID, it was canceled, and now it's canceled again this summer. And so that is such a bummer because I feel like I need something else.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a really nice thing to have for our family.
Right.
So I don't have it figured out yet, but I am probably going to have them pick something that they're interested in, at least one thing that they could do.
A physical thing, or just like going to be?
I would love it to be physical.
Yeah. I know. I agree. Yeah.
As we've talked about, like off the mic, I mean, my kids are middle school, teen age or whatever. It's really hard to find activities for them that are at their, level. If they're like there's no beginning soccer for 12-year-olds.
I know. It's such a bummer.
There's not even soccer. They wouldn't want to do that. But anything.
There's not like a fun league for older kids.
There's no fun leagues.
Not much.
There's a few little things.
Competitive,
but
yeah.
Yeah, everything's competitive, and you had to have been doing it since you were younger.
Exactly.
And so
it's
really a bummer. And I also feel like this middle age is hard because, like when they're older, they can like get a job or they might have their license or something. And when they're younger, they can like play and like make friends at the park or be involved in these beginner activities or whatever. But then like 11 to 15, 16, it's just really hard to find things for them. It's really hard.
I agree.
So
I really agree with that. I mean, it is tricky. And the older I think our kids get, it's easier when your kids are younger to put them in something because they're like, oh, I'll just make friends with everybody who I see there and we'll just be best friends, As they get older, that is not the case. And it's really tricky to just throw them. You don't want to throw them into a new situation where they're not on board.
No.
And they're not, they don't want to make all the new friends that you want them to make. Like, I think this is going to be really good for you. But they're just not there always. And so...
Yes, that's backfired on me before.
Yes,
for sure.
Yes, me too, for sure. Anything else for your...
Well, one other summer thing is just like summer family traveling. We are taking a camping trip for 2 weeks. And that's really exciting. And then we are RV camping. I'm not like a tent camper.
Yes.
Jeremy would love that. He says he would love that. I'm not going to do that. We're doing an RV trip for 2 weeks. And then also we have a cabin. And so we've reserved a lot of time to go to the cabin. That's Jeremy's favorite thing.
Yes.
It is this is just, he loves summer in Minnesota.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we have a lot of time planned to do that. So that's for sure one of our tentpoles. Yeah. And then probably having the kids choose an activity and then maybe a weekly hike. I don't know. Maybe that's too much to add the weekly hike to. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah. How about you?
I mean, lots of similar things.
Okay.
I told my kids we're going to do physical activity every day. It's going to get a little more intense this summer because we all need it. And it's really easy to just, for my kids to get really into whatever screen thing they're doing. And I don't want to like discourage that either. I think what they're doing on screens is really great. And I want to give them time for that this summer too. But I also want to have that balance of nature and outdoor time and physical activity. And so, I told them we've looked through activities offered in the area, and we're kind of deciding what some kids are deciding, is this what I want to do or whatever? But I told them, if you don't pick something, or if there's not something scheduled we are going to be doing something physical every day. And I think it's
every day, and
it's going to be at like 10 a.m. or something, like we're going to just set a time and so that it just is, expected, and it's going to happen.
Wow. So you're going to do a daily physical activity?
Yeah. Unless they're in something, if they're already
great.
Doing something that day, that's fine.
Are you thinking like bike ride, hike, those kinds of things?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. Bike ride, hike, run. I don't know. Something. Yeah.
That's great.
And I think I want to make it simple. Like, it's going to probably just be in our neighborhood unless we decide otherwise. Or maybe it'll be like once a week, like that Friday thing where we go for a hike all together. But I would like to make it regular so the decision fatigue doesn't happen early on in the summer. I'd like it to just happen. So,
yeah.
So that is going to be our big thing, is just physical activity. And then the other thing is our neighbors have a swimming pool, and they're empty nesters, and they want their pool to be used. So they're kind of like, it's an open invitation for us to come over. So, during the week at least. So we're hoping to swim a lot too, which I'm really thankful for.
Exciting.
Yeah. And that'll be physical too. And so I don't know. I'm like always weighing, is that enough physical activity or is that not? I mean, should we count that as our one thing that we're going to do that day? We'll see. These are things I have to decide. And probably have to have some conversations with our kids about that too. So, yeah. And how they're feeling. Like, I want them to check in and say, yeah, that's good. That's good for me. Or, or not. Another thing I really want to do this summer, and I know I may be idealizing this in my head, and I don't know how well this is going to go, but we spent a year traveling, and we haven't made any like photo albums or scrapbooks or anything with that. I'm not a big scrapbooker myself, but I would love it if we make some digital scrapbooks or photo albums and our kids write a little bit about their experiences. We did some writing while we were traveling, journaling and things like that. And where I would like to look at those journals too, and then also just do some of our own writing and put that. I would like each of my kids to work on that this summer, so they have like a physical, memory of their year.
That's so great. That is the perfect project.
I know, and I hope it's a good summer project. I think it will be.
I think it'll be. It'll be great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it's interesting because I haven't done it. We haven't done it yet. We've been home for 10 months and it's taken, I don't know. It's taken a lot of energy just to kind of transition into being home, I think. And then getting back into regular life again.
Yeah. And, okay, like 10 months or a year might be the good amount of time because you didn't forget everything.
Right.
But also you've had time to reflect on it.
Yes.
You've had time enough away. So I think it's probably a great summer project.
Yes, you're right. And then the other thing is, my husband really wants us to do more camper cabining. So, our state parks have these camper cabins, which is a really easy way to camp. Yeah. So we're that's just something we've done in the past, like once a month. And so that's a possibility, although I haven't planned very well. I haven't planned that yet. So it may be even too late. Who knows? But these are things I'm thinking of. Then the other thing is, we have a family wedding that's, that is like, my kids are literally counting the days to this wedding. They're so excited. And, we're being very cautious about it still because COVID is still around and we're being very, very, very cautious.
Yeah.
But still it is, so exciting. I think it's going to be probably the tentpole of the summer for our kids, like the thing.
So great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So,
okay.
One big thing.
right. So thank you, everybody, for listening. We just encourage you, as you're thinking about your spring and summer, to take a few minutes to think about a couple tent poles. And hopefully that can give you enough structure. Like, we like the tent pole analogy because it gives you like a little bit of structure, but with a lot of flexibility.
Yes, exactly. Where you feel safe. You feel safe and grounded in a routine, and then there's still like this freedom to make decisions, do different things.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. All right. Our listener question this week is going to be in Patreon. It comes from Katie. Thank you, Katie. She wants to know about teaching to our kids specific learning styles and needs. And we have a lot to say about that. And so we are going to have that discussion in Patreon. If you want to go there and give it a listen, it'll be right there right now. You can go to patreon.com/homeschoolunrefined.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to loving this week. Angela, what are you loving this week?
Okay. I am loving some new casual sneakers.
Oh,
I know.
I like a good casual sneaker.
Well, yeah, I'm not great with fashion, but
what?
Casual?
Yes, you are.
I don't feel
you're great.
Well, okay, all right. Okay. Well, anyway, I have not thought much about casual sneakers until now when I got a pair. And I was like, yeah, these are great. Okay. So they're called Vionic Pismo casual sneakers. Okay. So do you know about Vionics?
Nope.
Okay. They make shoes that have a good arch support. So I'm to the age where I need some arch support, right? They're trying to make cute footwear with good arch support. And in the past I've seen their flip-flops. And they are they're I haven't used them. I use other flip-flops that have good arch support. But these are casual sneakers. Nice. So they look like they don't look like they have great arch support. Yeah. They look like a regular cute sneaker, but they support you really well. Ooh. So I got one pair and I've ordered another one because I think these are going to be like what I wear in the summer. You can wear them with no socks or
really nice,
or the no show socks, which I know we've had a lot of discussions on this podcast about. Or short socks. You could do anything. You can wear these with shorts. You can wear these with jeans. You can wear these with capri type pants. You can wear them with lots of different kind of pants.
So are they lace? Do they have laces?
They have laces, but they're slip on. You don't use the laces.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So these are not sneakers that you'd go running in at all. These are for just, like walking around and stuff. They're for looks.
It's kind of what
whatever.
I want. I want.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, in the past, I've never had like shoes like this. I've had like sandals and then tennis shoes.
Yeah. So I'm curious what your second pair of Vionic shoes are going to be. Are they going to be?
Well,
sandals?
They're the same.
Oh, the same.
No, they're the Vionic Pismo casual sneakers. I got another the color it's like a light green.
Okay.
And then I just ordered black.
Okay.
Now, we'll put a link in the show notes. If you go to order them, they're out of a lot of colors and styles right now, but their website says like these are so popular. We are getting more. We're making more.
Wow.
So
I didn't even know this world was out there.
I didn't either.
Just amazing.
I saw it somewhere in some Facebook group. Somebody recommended these, and they look good and they feel good. So
that is
I'd
so
recommend
great.
them. Yes. All right. What are you loving this week?
Okay,
Maren?
I'm loving a limited series, and it's called Genius. It's on Hulu, and this season there are actually 3 seasons, which I did not know about until this season. This is season 3, and it is all about Aretha Franklin.
Yes,
who really was a genius. She really was a genius, and it's just about her life, and it's the storytelling is just it's just the best. It's the best storytelling that you could ever want, and I know you really like memoirs.
I do.
You are going to love this series.
I know. You've been telling me about this for a good number of weeks.
Because I know, sorry.
Is this no, and I want to watch. I am going to watch because I do think I would really like it.
I think you will.
Is this how many episodes? I know it's a limited series.
There are 8. I believe.
Oh, 8.
Yeah,
Okay.
which is a little bit longer. Because some of these limited series are just like 3 or 4 or 5, but this is 8, and they're about, I'm going to say 45 minutes each.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that length.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, and it goes back and forth between her, like the height of her career when she was like in her 20s and 30s and beyond, up, and and then it also always flashes back to her childhood. And they do just like really thread things that happened in her childhood with what's, with what is happening kind of like in the present time of the show. And it's just so well done. I can't not talk about Cynthia Erivo, who is the actress
who plays her?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
Which everybody should just go for her, because
she's great.
If nothing else, because she's really amazing. She's I don't know, she's just like you don't want to miss her in this.
She must be able to sing.
She's a singer. Oh yeah. I mean, she won a Tony for The Color Purple.
Oh, she did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's
I forgot about that.
And actually I actually saw her on Broadway.
Oh.
In The Color Purple, I didn't recognize her as Cynthia Erivo. I saw her, and then when she played Harriet Tubman in the movie Harriet, I was like, I know her. I know her. I remembered her from The Color Purple. Anyway, so yeah, she is really amazing, and all the actors, they just did a great job of finding the right people for the right parts.
Yes.
So great. So
yeah, that's so great. The only thing holding me back right now is that I am trying to get in the last Oscar movies before the Oscars. So
I get it. Listen, I've been there. I understand that.
So,
but this will be a great thing to look forward to for you.
It will be. Yes,
definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. You can find us on social media. We are on Facebook and Instagram at Homeschool Unrefined. And then we have a website, homeschoolunrefined.com, where you can find links and show notes to everything that we talked about. And we will see you next week.
Thanks for listening. Homeschool Unrefined is created and produced by Maren Gorse and Angela Sizer. Amanda Ginn is our content and marketing strategist. This podcast is listener supported. Join our growing community at patreon.com/homeschoolunrefined.
We donate 10% of all Patreon income and product sales to The Conscious Kid, a Black and Brown-led organization that has been instrumental in our own evolution and in leading the way in both ideological and tangible change with their work in parenting and education through a critical race lens.
No matter how you homeschool, you are exactly who your kids need. You're doing great.